What's happening, everybody? I'm back. It's me, your resident supervillain, Mr. J. Washington, and I am here with my review from Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four: First Steps. Now, if you have not seen this movie yet, come on back because there will be spoilers. Everything happens for a reason. The audio, from what I heard, was super low on the other upload, so I had to redo the whole video. And it gave me a chance to do it better because I felt like I could get more out. I didn't get a chance to really expound like I wanted to the first time around. I had to stop because I had to deal with some things. As always, first and foremost, thank you to each and every person who has liked, subscribed to the channel, who has watched videos, who has commented and everything. I know I should have had this video up over the weekend, but for those who probably didn't know, it was San Diego Comic-Con and I was down there. And to everyone who watches me, who I ran into or ran into me, thank you. That is sincere and from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Because I always say this and I mean it sincerely. Without you watching, there's no reason for me to be doing this. You know what I'm saying? So I thank you immensely. People have been asking when's the next Mad Titan. I've been working on something for a while, so if you saw something you ain't seen nothing, you kind of know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to get back to that, recording that with BC soon. All right, let me give my overall thoughts on the movie. Like I said, this is going to be a spoiler review, so if you don't want to hear any spoilers yet, I would advise you to leave now. First and foremost, I believe this is the best Fantastic Four movie we've ever had. I was a fan of the 2005 one. I liked it. I wasn't much of a fan of Rise of the Silver Surfer. Now, the first Fantastic Four movie, my biggest issue was the whole thing they did with Doom. I've always wanted, them to get Doctor Doom right. I've always wanted, he's a dude who, he scars his face and goes to seek magic, all these different things in whichever way I'm ordering it, but he doesn't turn into metal or he isn't some weird ass creature. So, I'm talking about the 2005 and I think it was 8 or whatever, and then Fan Four Stick. But this one was such a dope comic book movie. It was literally a film damn near taken straight out of the pages of a Jack Kirby comic. Set in its 1960s retro-futurism, the set pieces are amazing. It makes you feel like the Jetsons in the Marvel film. The family dynamic, I loved it. There were some parts with certain players that I did feel a certain way about. I think Galactus was the greatest thing we've seen on screen, the greatest things we've seen on screen as a villain since Thanos. And I watched some people quote unquote complain on social media like, how can Sue Storm's powers hold Galactus back or redo this? It's like, y'all have never read comic books. You all have never really read the comics because she's been able to do that. When she fully taps in, like, there's the things that she can do. The introduction of Franklin Richards is a game changer for the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward. If you did not know before this film, Franklin is considered almost an Omega level mutant. I'll give you a spoiler in the comics. Him and Galactus have to become friends. And the reason being is they're both immortal. And at one point when it seems like Galactus they're immortal to an incredible end almost. But when it feels like Galactus may finally succumb and Franklin becomes the one, which is what Galactus was searching for, someone to take the hunger from him. They have this thing throughout eons. That's in the comics. And I like how the baby doesn't, the cosmic entity, the cosmic force within the baby doesn't reveal itself until later when what happens, and we'll get to in a minute. About the cast. Pedro Pascal. Every person that's played Reed Richards gives their own interpretation of Reed Richards. That's what actors do. And he gave it to him as a genius who's almost somewhat on the spectrum, it feels like. I felt like, for me, now again, this is all your boy's opinions. I felt like at a couple of points, um, Reed was a little stiff where he could have, like, he's always been a tight ass. Reed is always, if you know anything about him, he's a tight ass, but it's also some level of a humor to him. And I felt like when it's time he was trying to deliver some humor, it came off a little tight because he was too tight being Reed. But again, that may just be the actor in me, watching that. Vanessa Kirby, I felt like there were a couple times she was in a soap opera, but she gave us the most authentic version of a Sue Storm taken from the pages of the comic books. It's going to be extremely interesting to see the interaction she's going to have with Namor going forward and whatever the case may be, because we know they come back in Doomsday. Joseph Quinn is Johnny Storm. I was a little confused on because Johnny, him being the Human Torch, he's also just a natural hothead, but also he's like a ladies' man. He's a kind of that thing, but it was weird because when you first get introduced to the Silver Surfer, it's a sexy hot alien, and then it's like it's not about trying to pull her; it's trying to understand her and relate to her, and then certain things. And I know it's supposed to be a character arc, but it didn't feel that way to me. Now, I say all of that, but I will say this is a great popcorn film. As one of my friends said, it was the best way to describe it, a popcorn. It's one of the movies you sit back, you grab your popcorn, you eat it, you watch the film, you just let go and have fun. I do think we as comic book fans nowadays become a little bit too critical with comic book movies, especially because there's a lot of expectations behind a lot of them. And that's Marvel, DC, whatever. Okay? I think there's sometimes we got to just some people who are cinephiles, some who are just avid comic book fans, turn some of the parts of your brain off, man. Just allow yourself to let go and enjoy. I like how the Fantastic Four is known around the world. They're this world's heroes. Also, the fact you don't need to do homework. Pardon me. You don't need to do homework for this movie. This is the beginning of Phase 6, the last phase within the multiverse saga, excuse me. And I like how we get right into it as well. You know their story. You know they were hit with cosmic rays. They've been heroes for a while. They've been protecting the Earth. Granted, it sucks that, we hear them talking about some of their battles and we didn't see everybody. Like, a lot of people were kind of upset not to see John Malkovich as Red Ghost. And I get it. But there are times, unfortunately, where certain parts get cut now. Granted, we really would have only seen him in a montage. When you sit back and think about it, because the only discussion about Red Ghost was in a montage of people they went up against. And I know this is somebody who's filmed scenes for TV shows and movies that have been cut down immensely. And, there's nothing you can do about it. What happens on the cutting room and floor and when the editing bay. So, trust me, I get the disappointment for some. I really do. Ralph Ineson as Galactus was so imposing, was so, his natural stature and demeanor and tone gave everything you wanted for Galactus. And especially when it came to the, first encounter between the Fantastic Four and Galactus, he's like, yo, just basically give me the kid. And it was, no, I'm not giving you our baby. Now, here's something I thought about, and I was having this discussion with the swaggy blur Winston A. Marshall. Reed, in some iterations of comics, would have just been like, well, Sue, listen, we can make another baby, right? And this will save everybody. Because to Reed, it was just a normal child. It's his child, of course. But remember, Reed kept doing all these tests, and none of his tests showed anything of a abnormal or cosmic or supernatural nature. Whereas Galactus could sense it. Galactus was like, yo, I know what he is. And he's like, your baby is hiding his truth from you. And I get that. But also having Sue bring Franklin out, because again, the Fantastic Four in this universe, they're always in front of the camera and saying, hey, look, I get y'all are pissed. Y'all want me to offer my kid for y'all. But this ain't just, this is my miracle baby. And I'm still going to do what I can to try to save y'all. We're going to do what we can to save y'all. So I kind of get that part. There are a lot of more people who wanted more exposition, and I'm not sure how much more you kind of wanted or needed. Like, I don't know if we needed to see the moment in which Galactus was created. I'm not 100% sure we like actually needed. I'm looking for something real quick while I do this. I'm not sure we needed that. You know, he was Gallon, a gallon of ton. And I'm not sure we wanted to see the moment where he was trying to deal with cosmic energy itself and the universe blended itself with them. I'm not sure we needed that, but because it's just I don't. We know the story, and I think that was one of the things Matt Shackman and the writers did was like, hey, you know most of these stories. The story we need to tell you now is really the origin story of Franklin Richards because we've never gotten him on screen. I think that was a good thing to have, a big thing to have. Julia Garner as Shalla-Bal, I think she plays Shalla-Bal perfectly. I think that iteration of the surfer is exactly who she was, who she is. There is the surfer always has remorse. Even Norrin Rad has remorse. Yes, you are the herald, but you made the choice to be the herald for Galactus. You chose to be the herald to save your people, but the trade off is still you have to lead other planets to their doom. You feed them to him. So she is kind of, conflicted. So I think that, I don't know what a lot, like I'm trying to sound so professional and stay true to a poise when I say this and say all these things. I don't know what these grifting fuckers are talking about. I don't know what a lot of these incels are going on. So woke and the silver surfer and feminism. Man, I need you motherfuckers to get laid willingly. I need y'all to go touch grass too. There is nothing wrong with strong women. The Fantastic Four has always been, yes, you have this genius in Reed Richards. Eben Moss-Baccarat as the Thing is phenomenal, by the way. I forgot to mention that. He gives you every level of emotion, still playing grounded, and he's a superhero. He loves the fans. He talks about where he grew up. But Sue Storm has always been the heart of the Fantastic Four. Let us never get it twisted. She has always been that. And then to say, well, you got Shalla-Bal. Okay, you have a different Silver Surfer. There are 12 people probably on this planet that's like, the Silver Surfer is my favorite character. Kiss my ass. Natasha Lyonne did what she needed to do. I'm sorry, I forgot the other sister's name that was in the film. Please forgive me 1 second. I'm going to pull up her name because I want to make sure I give everybody their props who was also in it. Oh, yeah, Sarah Niles. So, yeah, it's like, that was great. Seeing my homeboy Paul Walter Hauser as Harvey Elder as the Mole Man. I like how Subterranea was like a union that's been driven underground, and it's like their focus on community and taking care of the people and not being in this world in which they are subject to. And I like how they did that. That played a big part of it too. There were so many elements into this. Now the post credit scene. Well, before we even go to the post credit scene, I said earlier there's a moment that happens. Galactus comes on planet. He walking around. Now, I had a friend who was like, he didn't like to see Galactus walking on Earth. Because Galactus is he shapeshifts. He brings himself down to size. But there's a moment when they're fighting and basically, Sue uses her powers just so strong where it kills her. Right? And Franklin brings her back to life. And that is one of Franklin's powers. Again, seeing these little YouTube clips and whatever, somebody going, the baby brought the mama back to life. What are you talking about? That is what Franklin Richards can do. Again, I need people. Look, you can have an opinion on a film overall. That's fine. Some people going to hate it, love it, whatever. But when it comes to characters that have had established histories and lore, and this film holds to that, I need y'all who want to be anti it to do this beautiful little thing called shut the entire fuck up. Franklin can create a universe by thought in the palm of his hand. A universe. He can create life and death. So you're this cosmic being You're telling me he can't bring back to life his mama? Are you mad? Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Um, I just think. Also loved them having Herbie. Uh, I also Franklin's birth was crazy. You know, being born in faster than light travel, and when she threw off her pants in space, I was like, yo, we finna see intergalactic childbirth. And I've seen real childbirth. That's crazy. But again, Franklin bringing back his mom to life is something that happens. He can do those things, which brings you to the post-credit scene. Now, there's an AI version of it out right now. So everyone knows the post-credit scene is Dr. Doom is talking to Franklin, who is like 4 years old now. And there's an AI version of a young man going, "What's your name, boy?" And he's like, "I am Victor." He doesn't sound. It's AI. Okay, it's AI. It never even shows his face. You see the mask, you see the tunic, you know it's Doctor Doom. Okay? It plays a lot because, again, Doom himself wants that power. You notice early in the movie when you have the Future Foundation, the nation Latveria is there. There is no representative from Latveria sitting there, so it lets you know Doom is going to play a part of this. Now, this beckons. So we know this is a '60s retro-futuristic version, right? But we only really saw the New York area that encompasses the Fantastic Four. We don't know yet if this Earth 828 in this exact same time is the time in which the X-Men exist. Now, I'm going to say they probably don't, because the way they were talked about is they were the protectors of Earth, all these people. So that means the X-Men either aren't around yet, they aren't yet, or they're still in another universe. Again, multiversal saga. And so now you're going to have Doom, who wants this cosmic power. He, again, is the man that melds magic and technology, all these things. So all these doors are open. And going to something Kevin Feige even said, you know, yes, once this is all said and done after Secret Wars, people are going to be recast. You're going to get a new Tony Stark. You're going to get a new Captain America. And I saw some people going, well, that's just going to be terrible. Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans have put in their time, as have Chris Hemsworth, Jeremy Renner, Mark Ruffalo, hell, even Mackie. Anybody that's been on board since damn near Age of Ultron, they put in their time. They can recast and start the world anew. You just have to accept it. There are so many people also that are going to want to just push back on this just for the sake of pushing back. That's fine. I think there's a lot more that could be done with this movie. Yes, absolutely. There were certain things I felt like they could have expounded on, possibly. But I think the meat and potatoes of this for me, when I saw it, is let you know who the Fantastic Four are. She's pregnant. Oh shit, what type of wild ass baby they gonna have? Since they're in the spotlight, we're gonna take bets on the baby. Reed is like, hey, this baby's gonna have some cosmic shit, cause you know I got cosmic seeds, you got cosmic eggs now, cause we was hit by cosmic rays. But I keep checking the baby, and the baby is normal. This ain't right, is it? And then here comes this being saying your planet is gonna die, and now you're like, oh shit, okay, how do we stop this being? The being says, I want your baby. Huh? No. Wait. Maybe I should give her my baby. Her. I know getting goddamn well you ain't gonna give her my baby. Now, here's a twist that also could have happened. At a point, Reed could have shown, like, yeah, he uses Franklin as bait. But he could have actually considered giving him up. Because if you start having him have those thoughts that are so quote unquote irrational, but yet the most logical, and like this is the only way to save mankind, it leans into how we eventually could get the Maker. But that's another story for another day. I want to know what you think about Fantastic Four, the first steps, down in the comments below. Keep it civil. We are talking about a comic book movie. It is not worth you getting your blood pressure over. Okay? Some of y'all gonna try to be that person for some weird reason. No need to do it. Like, subscribe, click on the notification bell, please. Subscribe to the channel, man. Find out when I'm dropping more videos. Stay tuned to all of those. Share this video. Send us super thanks if you want to. What else is there? Blurs in the Hood. We're coming back. By the time you guys will see this, I'm going to have this up on Wednesday. We'll be back this afternoon. And we're working on something. We'll talk about it on the show. The Mad Titan Podcast coming back very soon. If you want to support on Patreon, Supervillain Squad, patreon.com. BC is BC's bullshit. And I need to put up a couple things, wrestling takes I've had in my head. I just haven't, unfortunately, had the time to. All of those things and more. Listen, I was at San Diego Comic-Con, like I said, and I feel like I want to be... Thank you to everyone who tells me how much what I do and have done in the past means. How much being a voice that talks about the stuff that we love means. And talking about it the way I talk about it, just as a regular dude. Not trying to appease or change anything of the sorts. Thank you. So, all those things, man. We'll holler at y'all later. Till then, I hope this audio was great. Take care. I'm out. Bye.